Let's move on and let's get into our final topic. So there is this new show that's coming out that you probably have heard of called King of Drag, which is going to be focusing on drag kings. And Tenderoni, who was a part of the show, is spilling tea regarding what we can expect from this new show that's going to be on Reverie, which I don't know if anybody's really familiar with Reverie, but they got some real good queer content and stuff on there. So now this is the first ever drag king reality TV show. So I am very much curious to see how this is, even though I am a little worried because I'm like, I've always heard like there aren't really a lot of drag kings out there. Like you don't really hear a lot of drag king performers. I mean, the only one I was really aware of because she's from New York and she's performed in New York spaces was um Landon Sider. That's the only one that I was really familiar with who won Dragula, one of the seasons. So that was the only one I was familiar with. But other than that, I didn't know like there was a lot of drag king performances that was going on. Of course I believe that drag queens do outweigh the amount of drag kings. But hopefully with this show, it will create more drag kings to come out and compete on the show. So it says before Tenderoni officially got the call to join the cast of King of Drag as one of his permanent judges, there were already rumors about the show circulating in drag king spaces, saying, quote, the drag king world is very small. So the conversation started bubbling. People were like, oh my God, is this really going to happen? Is this real? This is what Tenderoni told Pride. All the kings were excited. When the email boop showed up in Tenderoni's inbox inviting him to be a permanent judge, it was a no-brainer for the king, saying, quote, when you think about the big picture, this is groundbreaking, she says of King of Drag. This is important. I really want to take this seriously. I really want to be part of this in a positive way. Uplift drag kings. The Tenderoni was tapped as one of the permanent judges, comes as no surprise to anyone following his career. The drag star is the pride of Chicago, where he has built a reputation as an energetic and magnetic performer. His charisma and talent, not the uniqueness and the nerve, thrust him in to victory at Alaska Thunderfuck's Drag Queen of the Year pageant in 2020. Oh, I forgot. I was like, wait a minute. How do I know that damn name Tenderoni? Well, apparently it was like, yeah, because Tenderoni actually competed on, the pageant, which a friend of mine worked on, by the way. Now we said to impart this year's of kinging experience through critique and advice for a group of kings competing for the title of King of Drag on the first season of hopefully many of Reverie's groundbreaking new dragging competition, heading to the streamer in June. So we finally got a date of when we're going to get it. So it'll be in June, just in time for Pride Month, which I think is great, by the way, that we actually have, it'll be coming out during Pride. There's a lot of really good things that should be coming out in Pride, especially when we're dealing with this current administration that's coming down on the queer community. So we need to be more resilient, and the way we open up hearts and minds is, it seems like, through TV and shows, especially reality shows, when you get to hear a lot of these heartfelt stories from a lot of the queens and hopefully the kings. So hearing these stories that might open up people's hearts and minds of those who are sitting at home curious like I am to want to get to know these contestants. So, yeah, they said beyond simply making for a more entertaining show for fans, the fact that the network is taking things seriously and creating a high quality platform for the Kings really matters. That's because, as it stands now, Kings are really afforded the same opportunity as their drag queen counterparts, which translates into both lack of opportunity to perform and to be paid. And that's why I said before that I haven't really seen a lot of drag kings that were around that are getting the representation, because it's like I don't think they're being invited into the spaces. They said this is not lost on Tenderoni, who sees the major potentially life-changing opportunity a show like King of Drag could offer its contestants, saying, quote, a big goal that I personally want for the cast and the kings on this show is to have these opportunities that the queens have. I'm so grateful that I've had opportunities to tour nationally. I get to travel and perform all over the place. I'm sick of being the token. I'm always the one boy in the cast. I would love for another king to be with me. I would love it to be someone from this show. And I love the fact that we have somebody out here who's selfless enough to pretty much say that You know, I don't want to be the only one out here. Like, it's lonely when it's like you're the only representation. It's the same thing like with any minority group. Who wants to be the only representation of a specific group of people? Because it's like, yeah, there should be opportunities for other kings to be out here to perform alongside the drag queens. Why can't y'all mix it up and have different types of queens and stuff performing? This is why a lot of times when you've heard so many people, especially a lot of the girls from Drag Race, who have been crying wolf so many times saying, why don't they have AFAB queens, which I did believe they had one on Drag Race. Why don't they have drag kings compete on Drag Race? They're like, oh, and then they come up with every excuse in the book. Well, it's going to be this, and it's going to be too difficult, and you got to change this up, you got to do that. And it's like, okay, well, then let Rue have his shit. Let Rue have his little show over there. Let him keep the format that he has. He already like opened the floodgate a little bit and let the trans girls in, even though trans girls have been pioneers in the world of drag since before there was a drag race. Because I told y'all, me coming up in the nightlife scene of New York City, I've encountered many of trans women who were on stage giving full-on shows and performances and gowns and beads and all the accoutrements that comes with the art of drag. This is before Drag Race. So I've been seeing like a lot of the trans girls out there performing. And so and I always say people need to stop trying to tell other people what to do with their own stuff. And I'm talking about like with Drag Race. So stop waiting for people to create the opportunity. Create it yourself. And that's why I'm glad that they decided, you know what, they're not going to give us the opportunity. They're not going to put drag queens on Drag Race. Then we'll go and we'll create our own show and we'll call it King of Drag. And I'm like, you know what? I like it. I like the fact that they decided, because they always say, if you build it, they will come. So now they also said that naturally presented some wait, hold on. Did I even oh yeah, let me hold on. Now it says speaking of the cast, while it hasn't yet been announced, Tenderoni gushes about the Kings its audience are about to meet. They said the cast is amazing. This is what he said. And was genuinely shocked to not only see how diverse the lineup is, but that he knew that had even worked with several of them and said, I was so happy to see them because I consider a lot of them as my peers. That naturally presented some complications when it came to giving them critiques. Well, yeah, that's always going to be a case. It's like, okay, now when I've worked with some of these girls, we're we're on a reality show, and it's like, even though we're peers outside of the club situation, now I have to judge you because that's my job. So no hard feelings. So yeah, he said it was definitely something of a mind boggler, but I took this opportunity very seriously. So I wanted to come into this as a mentor more than a critic. I always want my feedback to be constructive. I always want it to be almost like a big brother to a younger brother. Most of all, though, he was excited to show the world the love and the camaraderie between the kings, saying, quote, all drag kings love each other. You'll see that. It's definitely a love fest, which might I don't know. We'll see. But I know that might bore some of y'all because a lot of people like the drama. But when it comes down to competitions, I just want to see people compete. I don't always think that there needs to be fighting and bickering and it's got to be all, like RuPaul's Drag Race. Like I don't always have to be catty. Like sometimes if you're going to be competitive and that sort of thing and that's how it comes out, then that's great. But don't do the contrived pettiness. Cause then I'm like, we can see through all of that. Or when y'all try to produce yourselves, like they do a lot on Drag Race. Now this says, needless to say, an opportunity like this is the I like this to highlight the art of kinging has been a long time coming and has been a source of debate in the drag community and the drag fandom for years. Some want to see the kings get their own platform, while others have been calling for greater inclusion in other drag competition series. Where does Tenderoni land in the debate? Definitely on the side of, well, why not both? Saying, quote, I love this platform dedicated to kings, but I also think that kings and queens can live in the same world too. I've used this metaphor before, but I always think of a drag show as like a buffet. When I go to a buffet, I'm getting something from every single part of the different areas. Why can't you have different items of food on your plate? I don't understand why it can't be mixed together. Exactly. So if the day comes where RuPaul's Drag Race sees that, oh well, oh shit, King of Drag is actually working. It's giving us a run for our money. Let's now, because we want to keep the show fresh, let's incorporate kings onto the show. Then I'm sure we'll be all here for it. And yeah, we all know that RuPaul's Drag Race provides a bigger platform, but until they're ready to do it, then it's like, you know what, we're going to build it and we're going to show them that this show works. And maybe it'll open an opportunity for more shows to be made or Drag Race to finally incorporate drag kings on the show. So it says the lack of king representation not only translates to fewer bookings for these artists, but fewer artists in general. Tony Tenderoni explains, if you think of other shows, there's 17 years of drag queen references for young drag queens to refer to. Drag kings don't have that. We're judged so harshly, but we don't have the same references or resources that drag queens do. For me, the most important part of the show is creating a supportive community and just creating platforms for people who are not represented normally. I feel like this is going to do it. I really hope it does. Now, while fans have yet to see the Kings who will take part in the show, Reverie has teased the permanent and guest judges, and the roster is impressive to say the least. Dragging icon Murray Hill plays the role of host, while Tenderoni is joined by fellow drag king Dr. Wayne Newton, as well as drag royalty Sasha Velour, Got Mick, and Damian Pelicone, or is it Pelliccione? On the judging panel, as if there weren't enough star power, guest judges include Cole Escola, Landon Sider, Lisa Rinna, Vico Ortiz, Liv Houghton, Kathleen Hanna, Cameron Esposito, Bridget Everett, and more. But the guest judges who really surprised Tenderoni might also come a bit of a surprise to viewers. They said Paul Feig. When I first saw him, I saw him from behind, and he has this beautiful, glorious white hair, and he was like so well dressed. And he was like, "Is Tim Gunn here?" And I was like, "Is Tim Gunn here?" He laughs. Then, when it actually came to sitting down and judging, his feedback was so great, it was deep. I was like, "Wow, you really get drag kings." Well, sometimes it'll surprise you, and I like the fact when the girls get up there and um provide critiques and not just come up there and just be like, "Oh yes, Mama Slay, yeah, down boots, oh," like doing all that bullshit. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, stop. It's not even how we talk. Um, but to get to Eddie, look, they even say even if you don't want it to be, drag is political. How many times I've been saying drag is political? I always say art is political, like whether you want it to be or not. So he said, as a drag king, every time you step on stage, we're making a statement that we exist and we're not going anywhere. So the show premieres on June 22nd on Reverie. I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops when the queens are actually, or sorry, the kings are actually revealed. We'll talk about it on the show. So yeah, anything that's relatively new and shows any kind of representation for us, I'm always here to support it and promote it and talk about it and all this other stuff. So we definitely need all the representation that we can get because it's not it's slim pickings when it comes to the queer entertainment and the representation. So I'm here for it. Now, to wrap this up, I saw Pink News wrote an article asking if King of Drag is the new Drag Race. And I got this to say on this. Now, first of all, Drag Race will always be the mother of all drag shows because it's been around for going on 18 years. And we've been there since the beginning, some more than others. I'll say for me, I've been there from the beginning. I told you back when I was in college, when the first season started, I was supposed to be doing my work, and I'm sitting there watching Drag Race because there was no access to logo and all this other stuff. So I watched it on my computer in school. Me and my classmate Tiffany sitting there watching Drag Race while we supposed to be working on our projects. Now, I do believe that we can look, like Tenderoni said, like why we can't have more like mix all the things on the plate from the buffet. I do feel that we can have more than one drag show coexist in the world of TV. Why can't we enjoy the 8,000 spinoffs of Drag Race in addition to Dragula and King of Drag? In fact, I feel like there needs to be more shows that celebrate the art of drag besides RuPaul's Drag Race. I've been saying that for the damn longest. Now, look, there's been so many aspects of drag, of the drag world that doesn't follow the formula popularized by the house Mama Ru built. So we can have different representatives. I told you I got ideas for drag shows and stuff too that we could show that's outside of what the formulaicness of Drag Race and all the other iterations. We got Drag Race, we got Dragula, and now we got King of Drag. And I'm sure there's other shows that we have that's going to be coming too. Hopefully. So yeah, while I'm not familiar with the art of performance regarding drag kings, I am, as I said earlier, interested in checking out this world. And hopefully, with the success of the show, we'll get to see more kings. More kings will try out, and it'll be a good show. So I'm excited to see this. And now I want to hear from you all. Are you guys excited to see this new up and coming Drag King series that's going to be coming out next month on Reverie? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.